2.5 million. That, a father told the Madlanga Commission, was the price on his son's life. Today, Gregory Loftus, 20 years a policeman himself, sits in front of the chair and the commissioners and says the men who hunted his son were wearing badges. He names a towing boss, Clive Naicker, owner of Roadstar Towing. Then he plays the commission a phone call, and you hear his son. Lot of money, 2.5 on my head now. Naicker hasn't testified here. He told the Daily Maverick that Bevon was an evil young man and that their conversation ended, let's see who dies first. Loftus alleges police came to his gate and told him they were not there to arrest Bevon. They were there to kill him. He alleges one of them said, "Get his funeral policy up to date because I'm going to bury him." 2 months later, Bevon Loftus and 4 other men lay dead on a flat floor in Morningside. Then a retired captain, 38 years service, a police firearms instructor, reads the shooter's own statements and gives the commission 3 words. Doesn't add up. Nobody here has been convicted. This is sworn testimony, but you need to hear it. Hit like, subscribe, turn on the bell. Let's go inside.
Okay, please proceed.
Okay, the harassment and intimidation by the police began in 2022. But it is important that I set out the context which I believe is important and basis for the harassment. During 2022, both Bevon and myself received information that there was an assassination contract put on Bevon's life in the amount of 2.5 million. I also received information from a policeman I know that the hit on my son, Bevon, was genuine. The word was that I should be careful because if they cannot kill Bevon, they would kill my son, Nicholas, or myself. My son, Nicholas, was a Bolt taxi operator and had to cease operating because of the threat on his life and subsequently lost his income and the vehicle. Bevon and I were informed that Clive Naicker put up the 2.5 million contract to kill Bevon. On 23rd of January 2023, Bevon called Naicker, Clive, and confronted him in this regard. I have submitted a recording of that call to the Commission. A transcript of that call is attached as GL2. Many police members entered and went into different areas of the house without any supervision. A young man, namely Michigan Hippolyte, who was then 19 years old, is now deceased, was asleep inside the house. Constable Ian Ronnie from the Durban Metro picked up 2 Chinese-manufactured two-way radios from the shelf in the kitchen and said that they were police scanners. Constable Ian Ronnie and one of the 7 Naidu took Michigan into the bathroom and questioned him about Bevon's whereabouts. I saw Constable Ian Ronnie push Michigan's head into the bath with water and hold it there on 2 occasions while Michigan struggled to breathe. I interviewed and told Constable Ian Ronnie to stop what he was doing to Michigan. He then stopped.
15, paragraph 52.1, but we'll start with the recording.
The Roadstar, Mr. Clive himself, how are you?
Yeah, who's this here?
Like a lot of money, 2.5 on my head now, eh?
Who is here? Who is this here? Bevon, you?
Yeah, how you can phone Dane? How you can phone Dane to tell Dane to set me up? You can phone Mr. Roadstar. The Roadstar, Mr. Clive himself, how are you?
Yeah, who's this here?
Like a lot of money, 2.5 on my head now, eh?
Who is here? Who is this here? Bevon, you?
Yeah, how you can phone Dane? How you can phone Dane to tell Dane to set me up?
I phone Dane, I don't even fucking know.
Me, I never ever fought with you. I got no problem with you, but look like you after me. You paying dinner, governor, you paying all the carols. You went past to do all these things to me. I never had nothing to do with you. I never minded your business. I got no flop with you. But Bali, you went out of your way to do all these things to me. You want to kill me and all. What kind? Bali, where's the numbers?
Are you making allegations against me or are you telling me the truth?
I'm asking you, where's the numbers, Bali? I never do fuck all to you. Check your word, I'm fuck all to you.
Telling the people I killed Regan.
See our Bali. See our checker. No flop. You wanna kill me, right? No flop. The fastest lives the longest. Right? Laka.
When he answered the phone, Mr. Clive Naicker was not able to identify Bevon at first. As soon as Bevon mentioned the 2.5 million hit, Mr. Clive Naicker instantly, immediately identified him. And the accused, sorry, let me say that again. He immediately identified him, Bevon, and accused Bevon of killing his uncle. When Bevon accused Mr. Clive Naicker of paying Captain Dhinesh Govender to kill him, Mr. Clive Naicker did not deny the allegation.
I want to take issue with that. I think you should listen to the recording in the context of everything that was said. Let me take you to page 113, 113. Read 113 at the top.
Okay, I've got it, Commissioner.
Yeah, the fifth entry where Bevon is speaking says yes, and then how you can phone Dane to tell Dane to set me up. Then the response by Captain Naicker. I'm sorry, Mr. Naicker. I phoned Dane. You see, even the fact that is asking a question there. I phoned Dane. It should tell you that implicit in that is, it may in a sense be a denial. I don't even effing know who Dane is, so it becomes clearer. I've never, so your source about me having called Dane to set you up, that's false. So that's a denial. Yeah. But let's go further down. So yes, it's not, it does not directly deal with the 2.5, but the context is the 2.5. And the setting up by Dane is in the context of the 2.5. So let's go further down. The long, or there is what Bevon said there, the longest by him. He says, second last line, towards the end, you want to kill me and all that kind. And then the response by Mr. Naicker, I don't. You want to kill me? I don't. Are you making allegations against me or are you telling me the facts? So when you look at all this in context, he actually did deny the allegations. It's on that basis that I say I take issue with what you say when you say he did not deny.
Sorry, I didn't hear that, Commissioner.
I'm saying it's on this basis that I say I take issue with your statement that Mr. Naicker did not deny.
No, fair enough. That's the way it's read.
All right.
Accept that. 82 from the top.
From the top, thank you.
Okay. Daily Maverick approached businessman Clive Naicker, who described Bevon Loftus as an evil young man. I've only had 2 or 3 conversations with this evil young man. I don't know him. I have been in the towing industry for 14 years, and I am chairman of our Towing Industry Association. I have never had a confrontation with Bevon. Earlier this year, Bevon called me saying I wanted to kill him. I said I heard he killed my uncle, the tow trucker Elvis Raju in Asheville, earlier this year. I heard on the street that it was a case of mistaken identity, that I was meant to be the target of the shooting. Bevon ended the conversation with, let's see who dies first.
Yes?
And it is, I just don't want to rephrase it. It says, the fastest lives the longest. You recall that?
Yes, I recall it.
What did you understand that to mean?
At first, I didn't know how to take it, because I said to Bevon, I actually asked him, what did he mean by that and why did he say that? He offered no explanation. You know, he says he was angry, so he didn't even realize what he was saying, but he didn't offer any explanation.
And I'm just saying, what did you understand of it, that statement?
If I have to put my own interpretation into it, Clive being now the guy that wants to kill him, as he says in the conversation. So I would put it as to the fastest lives the longest, who gets who first. That's how I would interpret it.
Would it be accurate to characterize it as a threat?
You can characterize it as a threat. I can say that.
And you'll see the article, the Daily Maverick article at 1182 that you've just read. Mr. Naicker is quoted as having said, Bevon ended the conversation with, let's see who dies first.
Are you asking which one is correct?
No, I'm going to come to the question.
Okay.
I'm asking whether you see that.
I see that, yes.
And would you say that is, I'm not saying it's word for word or it means entirely the same thing, but would it generally be along similar lines?
Yes, you can. I'd say you can equate it.
Okay, thank you.
The police came in unmarked vehicles, stopped at the gate at Bevon's premises. Captain Dhinesh Govender, Warrant Officer S. Naidu, and a dog unit policeman, Warrant Officer Naicker, approached aggressively and said they were here not to arrest Bevon, but to kill him. Because according to Captain Dhinesh Govender, Bevon had threatened to kill the members of the Hawks and Captain Valia of SAPS Brighton Beach Detectives. The police searched my premises and Bevon's home, where Bevon resided. No search warrant was produced, and the bedroom door of the house was damaged. I was arrested by Warrant Officer Naicker whilst I was handcuffed on the roadway. While I was handcuffed on the roadway, Captain Dhinesh Govender and Warrant Officer Sivan Naidu and the dog unit policeman, Warrant Officer Naicker, repeated that they intended to kill Bevon. I'm not going to mention the other names. There's 4 other people involved. They kept insisting that Bevon was at the Bluff Butchery early that day, and that is why the Toyota engine was hot. Captain Dhinesh Govender and Warrant Officer Sivan Naidu said that I must get Bevon's funeral policy up to date because I'm going to bury him, and my wife and I are going to mourn for him. Captain Govender said that Bevon shot his friend, Alan, which is Alan Subramani that I mentioned earlier. He's the Durban South Towing Company owner. He said Bevon shot him in the head. Warrant Officer Sivan Naidu, a policeman called Pedro Rodriguez, arrived. He didn't arrive with them. But being handcuffed, when we came out of the house and went to the side of the house, Warrant Officer Naicker of the dog unit actually said Pedro Rodriguez was there, and he went under. We've got a wooden floor, so we've got an elevated floor. We've got a crawl space under the house. He asked Captain Rodriguez to go under the house and check, and he said, if he's there, shoot him where he lies. So I was like, these guys were really set to kill Bevon. And if he approached the Brighton Beach guy, detective, and I can tell you he wouldn't get joy, because he's had that before, especially Michigan was shot. There was no joy. I was placed in a police vehicle and heard Captain Dhinesh Govender, Warrant Officer Sivan Naidu, and Warrant Officer Naicker having a discussion that they would get Bevon's attorney to bring him in. They would book Bevon out for further investigation, shoot him, and Captain Dhinesh would cover it up. The dog unit policeman said he had 1 more firearm to plant. Captain Govender also said that they were going to sort out the Newlands East boys. This is a reference to the people who live in Sawfish, Newlands East, Sawfish Road in Newlands East, and who were people who grew up in the Wentworth area before being shifted to Newlands East. Moved the hard drive of the CCTV footage in Bevon's house. I asked him why he was taking the vehicle which was used in the business, and he said it was used in the commission of a crime. I was taken to the Brighton Beach police station. When we were at the station, I was told by Captain Dhinesh Govender that they were charging Bevon for attempted murder for shooting at the police at the Bluff Meat Supply. These allegations were blatant lies because Bevon was never at Bluff Meat Supply and in fact had not left the premises at our family home that day. The police removed the CCTV hard drive because it was evidence that Bevon did not leave the premises. It is for this reason that in my interdict application, I sought the return of the CCTV hard drive that would prove Bevon's innocence and cover the conspiracy to implicate him falsely. At the Brighton Beach Police Station on February the 5th, 2023, I was visited by a female police officer by the name of Captain Ashley, who was the duty officer at Brighton Beach SAPS, We had a discussion about the alleged shooting, and she informed me that no shooting occurred at the Bluff Meat Supply on the 3rd of February 2023. She further told me that as the duty officer, she would have had to be called out to attend the shooting scene, and none of the members knew about any shooting that had taken place. She acknowledged that no forensic teams, fingerprint experts, or photographers were called out to the alleged shooting scene. I spoke to policemen and detectives, and they all have no knowledge of any shooting. I spoke to, I don't know if I should say that name. I spoke to Anesh Balraj, who was standing for elections to be the Brighton Beach Community Policing Forum chairperson. He is also involved in the security industry in the area about the shooting, and he acknowledged that no shooting took place. Further, Captain Bevon of Durban Metro also confirmed that no shooting took place. Captain Vali allegedly filed a report of the shooting. In my view, the circumstances clearly show that his report was false. Clearly, the intention was to implicate Bevon so that they could get him.
Is there subtext in what you are saying now?
Is there some text?
Subtext. Are you suggesting something?
Yes, I'm suggesting that this statement was taken at a later stage and backdated. Because this is not normal.
So are you, sorry, what does that mean? Are you now implicating even the captain who commissioned this, that they're actually part of the scheme?
I wouldn't say implicating. I'm saying that I'm finding it strange that the captain would take time to commission a statement like this here.
The chairperson asked you what is the subtext of what you're saying. I find it strange. You're repeating it.
Okay.
What in fact are you saying about it?
All right. I would say that he was involved in the fabrication of the statement.
Thank you. With their child, you have also testified, for example, that because he changed his phone so many times, you didn't even know his telephone number at the time that the police were there, that you really are not in a position to categorically deny the description, for example, that he was mean. He may well have been mean out in the streets, and out of respect for you, would never show that to you. But as a parent who's not around the clock with their son, it seems to me that you may not be in a position to say in every case that allegations are made about him and where he's described in these terms. You may not be in a position to say all of that is lies. You have to make room, at least I think, you would have to make room for, well, I didn't live around the clock with him. So I don't know what exactly he got up to, but the son that I know could not be described as a mean person. Is that not, would that be a fair proposition?
I agree that would be a fair proposition.
Okay, thank you.
Prevent him from going into the flat, but Captain Dhinesh Govender allowed him to pass and to enter the flat so that he could help them identify the 5 deceased. Captain Houston relayed that when he entered the flat, he first saw Sihle Zondo, but at the time he didn't say Sihle, he said a black male. We established it was Sihle Zondo after that. So him laying in the
Zondo or Zondi?
Zondi. He first saw Sihle Zondi laying in the passage in a pool of blood. He then saw 4 more men in the lounge laying side by side. He at first did not recognize any of them, but on a second closer look, he recognized Bevon. They were all laying in blood on the floor. He said that it was one of the worst scenes he had been in. He said, I must not leave it because they were executed.
And what do you base your theory on? That is that they were tied.
When I was at the flat on the 6th, I spoke to neighbors. And from their responses, I could surmise that there was no shootout. And if there was no shootout, the normal procedure when you do an action like that, obviously it should be arranged by the detectives or investigators. So they've got specialized units around them, National Intervention Unit, etc., which are trained in house penetration. And their job is to make the area safe, subdue the suspects for the investigators to enter. That's their speciality. They don't do investigations. So when I interviewed neighbors, they said to me that they heard screams, well, shouting, I would say, from the police saying, get down, get down. They clearly heard that, get down, get down, get down. So I'm saying the normal procedure when they enter, that is what they would do. And then the next step, what they would do is subdue the people either with handcuffs or cable ties. That is standard operation procedure, because that is even what they did at my house. I can vouch for that. That is the procedure. So the fact that the neighbors could say they heard them say, get down, get down, get down on numerous occasions, and they usually do it in a loud, audible voice to strike fear into somebody. And furthermore, there were other neighbors that said they heard some policemen saying, where's the money, on numerous occasions in a loud voice, where's the money?
So the tying is mere surmise on your part?
Yes.
All right, you've answered me, thank you.
Okay. It wasn't long after that was aired. I'm not date specific. I received a call from a member of the police in Dhine's office. I will not mention a name. That said to me, pack a bag and disappear because they're coming to kill you. Says, I heard a discussion that you've become a threat to them, which I did. I packed a bag immediately, and I basically, obviously, my whole nervous system went to another mode. I sat down and had a cup of tea. My son came to me and he said, they're coming up the driveway. I grabbed my bag and I jumped over fences. I went to the neighbor's house. As time went, there was an ex-policeman that I used to work with. He happens to know the guy. He's a colored guy. He used to live in Wentworth. He approached the guy and he said to him, why are you doing this to them? You know that it's not true, so what has happened? So he said, yes, he was asked to do it by Dhine, and they were going to help him with a promotion. So further, I was just fortunate. It sounds far-fetched, but I was fortunate. There's an attorney that was at the Durban court when this policeman walked in to the office of the prosecutor. He's not the SPP, but the prosecutor of, it was Court 9. And they had a discussion. This policeman was discussing the case with him, and he said to him, the prosecutor said to him, you can't arrest him. You need to take a warning statement. But earlier, when this ex-policeman said to him, a question about what he's doing, he had said to the policeman, tell him to come to the office and take a warning statement. But I didn't trust him. I thought they had an agenda. Having received the phone call from that policeman, saying that they're going to kill me because a discussion was heard to that effect. So I was gone from home for about 18 months. When we were even at the court, they kept saying it to myself and the attorney, the attempted murder he's wanted for, which did not happen. So basically they pursued him on that. And then when he was killed, they charged him for that group for 11 cases after he was killed. And the amazing thing is that on the 1st of April they were killed, somebody charged them on the police system. So they were charged for 11 cases after they were dead. So I find it's important because if they had to make a case, create a case, that tells me they didn't have anything on him to arrest him. So I think they didn't want to lose face with Clive that had paid them. So the way I understood it was they had to get him at any cost, then they could do with him what they wanted. I thought I'd just...
Before you go out, Captain, you say at paragraph 16, you confirm that 5 males were shot dead. And perhaps it's a pedantic question, but how do you know that they were dead? Did you test them? Did you check the pulse?
The damage done there, there's no way of survival. Everyone had headshots. Leave the body shots. I know exactly the killing spot on your body. So, as a weapon expert, I'm saying this, as a shotist, test me. I know exactly where to kill you, the killing shot went to. So they all had headshots. So I didn't even scrutinize the bodies. There was no need, whether they were shot 5 times, once or 3 times, but they were deceased. These guys were gone. I got there, Chair, I want to mention, I got there very quickly, and I would say so from my experience in terms of the blood splatter or the spilling or the bleeding of the deceased. It hadn't even settled. The blood was still very fresh. It hadn't even started to dry.
So was he notorious by association, not because he was wanted for a particular crime? Because there's a difference. If you say he was notorious because he moved with this gang or that gang or that gang, that's different from saying he's a known killer or he's wanted for committing.
Chair, the place where he's sitting is not just sitting where you're sitting and having a social. It's a yard that's got about 6 pit bulls. It's got people with unlicensed guns in there. It's got walls about as high as the ceiling. Every time I did a raid there, we had to breach, as in terms of pass the walls and then pass the pit bulls before we get to them. And drugs are sold live as we sit here. Even if we call someone now to say, just go do a live video with us, it's sold live there. So you're not sitting where you're saying you're talking to an ex-gangster or someone's reformed from prison or a school friend. You're sitting right there. So, you know, I don't know if it's correct to say the birds of the feather flock together. How would you label me if I'm sitting in a drug den, if my brother's a drug dealer? You're going to obviously say I'm dealing in drugs. Whether you smoke or you don't, whether you drink or you don't, he's not moving where I say, coincidentally on a sports field, or maybe coming out of a church service or a youth service or a program. You're sitting in a drug den. It's more clearly Hollywood. The shootings happened right there. The killings happened right there. The whole community knows this. Went to this crime. But I've seen this thing. It's like nobody wants to speak about what's happening. But that is what's actually happening. But I know this Bevon is late. He's no more. But Bevon associated himself not with 2 gangs, with 1 gang. He was part of Hollywood, just to place emphasis on it.
His association with Bevon.
Yes, I did question him. He did say he's a middleman. He only keeps the weapons and he keeps the drugs. On this particular day, he was taking the drugs to Newlands and then he was going to meet with them. He did mention that to me.
Thank you.
I did not include names here. But he also mentioned, besides Bevon, another deceased. He wasn't too sure that guy was there. He said that guy's gone on a trip, as on a boat trip, as with the MSC, the trip that takes you out for 3 days. So he was unaware that this guy was in the flat, as basically confirmed normal or deceased.
In simpler terms, Captain, when you say that, because you use the word middleman, what does that mean? He was middleman for Bevon.
Yes, what he says, whenever it comes to moving or storing or keeping on the guns, because he's in an estate, they would leave everything with him. They entrusted him to keep it. That was his role playing. An NIU member, National Intervention member, 1 member arrived. When he arrived, I was quite happy to see his face because I identified he's the same one I saw at the scene. I don't know his name. I'm not going to even mention it if it's mentioned. But he said he's there to process the suspect. I was shocked that the NIU member is now going to write a statement. So I looked at him and I looked at the exhibits. He arrived with a rifle and he arrived with a small amount of drugs. And that was like contrary to what was being said before he arrived, what was being seized. So I don't want to even visit that. Because what this arrested person, which was arrested earlier, told me he was arrested for, wasn't speaking to what the NIU member arrived with. So he asked me, Captain.
But on a second closer look, he recognized Bevon. They were all lying in blood on the floor. He said that it was one of the worst scenes he had been in. He said, I must not leave it because they were executed.
Chair, that's not my words to him. I deny saying that to him. I would not say something like that. Not to protect anyone's actions, but that is unbecoming on me to say that. About seeing the first person, I didn't even know that person. Up until today, I don't even know. This name is foreign to me. So, with identifying who Bevon was and who the second person, as I said, I didn't know his surname, those were clearly identified. Just with a quick glance at them, I could say who they were. The other 3 deceased, I could not say who they were. And there wasn't a second look. When I went in, because I knew they dialoguing about me being in there. I looked and I extracted myself, I left. I was satisfied that there is a shooting, there are 5 deceased, I need to get people out there ASAP. So with Gregory, I would have not discussed such. Is that correct count? But like I say, that picture that was taken, and it was taken, and I'm going to say this, it could have only been taken by the people who entered there. And the people who entered there is Captain Dhine's team. One of his members took that and sent that out to somebody. And that somebody put it on social media. And I heard Chair say in a previous witness, police have WhatsApp groups. Okay, paragraph 4 from Bevon Lee China's statement, that's the captain from Metro, reads as follows. As we approached the flat, I noticed that the flat door was open. Captain Rodriguez, which is Pedro, was slightly ahead of me. Captain Rodriguez shouted out aloud as we entered that we the police. I also shouted out identifying ourselves as policemen. There was a lot of movement from the occupants of the flat, from the lounge area, away from us, further into the flat. For a few seconds, I lost sight of the suspects. Suddenly there was a deafening sound of gunfire coming from the position of the suspects. The suspects fired at us. Captain Rodriguez returned fire. I saw the suspects firing in our direction. I returned fire as my life or our lives of my colleagues were in imminent danger. I fired 2 rounds from our department LM5 rifle. I'm not going to read the serial number, it's there. My colleagues, one of Munsami, one of Shabalala, and Constable Halford, also returned fire simultaneously. When the gunfire stopped, in a couple of seconds, Captain Rodriguez informed us that he had been shot in the abdomen. Fortunately, he was wearing a bulletproof vest.
And then, before you comment, can you also go to page 405 of the same document?
There are prerequisites to every house clearance when we're training you. The prerequisite is 7 members to any room. If you got less, we are not to enter. The reason why we're not to enter, if there's a casualty on the state side, then that person leading that group will have to answer, and vice versa. If you look at the amount of rounds the members are counting for what they shot, realistically speaking, if they fired those amounts of rounds in such a small area, then I would describe it as an overkill. Now, the way these members are saying in their statements they moved, seemed like they were sucking thumb. If that door was ajar and they managed to set foot inside and I was sitting on that couch, I would have eliminated them. Because I would have had sight on them. Because they should, it's either they had intelligence of the whole setup of this flat. Because if I don't know what's on the side of the lounge, you lost sight of the people. That flat's not very big. So hiding spaces, you're going to run around the corner, you're only going to go 2 meters and you can't go anywhere after that. If you ran the balcony, you're 5 floors up. You're going to jump to your death. So I think it's questionable, or proper accountability should have been done in terms of how they entered, who led this entry. You can see they're all speaking about the stun grenade being thrown over. Stun grenade don't come after you start firing your rifle. The stun grenade, that's what has the name stun grenade. It's a pyrotech we use before you even engage or discharge your firearm. You'd see in the statements, and I'm seeing it now not for the first time, well, the statements were said and I read, and I don't want to study it paid for, but when I read the story, I said, it doesn't sit well with me from my training experience. Because if they were to simulate that dry fire where they're going through, and I left a manigan around the corner, or 4 manigans around the corner, and I stood there, I would have tapped them on the heads with their dry guns and said, listen, you failed. You would have put yourself as a casualty. That account doesn't marry what tactical movement's about.
So, Captain, you were not there, but in layman's terms, the story as depicted or as set out in the statements does not add up.
Doesn't add up. Firstly, with the amount of rounds they fired. A human being's body it's a big target. When we simulate, we shoot on straight pins. We shoot on matchboxes. We shoot on a 9mm cartridge. It's ridiculous.
And perhaps, Captain, to give better context, at paragraph 24 of your statement, maybe read into the record as to how many rounds were shot by each of the 5 members. That's from paragraph 24.1 to 24.5.
According to their statements.
According to their statements, yes.
Yeah. Well, I confirmed this off their statements that Captain Pedro Rodriguez fired 12 rounds with the R1. The magazine capacity there is 20 rounds if it's not an extended mag, but the standard issue is 20 rounds of ammunition. That's a lot of ammunition to be fired. Constable Matthew Roger fired 10 rounds of his rifle. Constable Munsami, the stun grenade. Constable Shabalala, 3 R5 rounds. And Chavon, 2 rounds from the rifle. It should be at your quarter pass.
Or your quarter pass, yeah.
To the picture.
Yes. So my understanding is that those holes will be on your left as you enter that's the corridor.
That's the left.
Yes. But all the deceased, is it correct at least to say that all the deceased were actually on the opposite side of the wall?
That's correct.
Which also creates a difficulty as to why would the police shoot in the opposite direction if their statement is to be taken
That's correct.
very seriously. And I was only limiting it to the headshot wounds, but if that's your final answer, not any other body parts. It was limited to the body part. To the head.
If it's headshot, if that's headshot, you got no chance. Not with what I saw there, because that whole head is blown out. There's no chance that even if you got life in your heart is still beating, there's no chance you have survival of a returning fire or anything. Just one morning, let's go for breakfast. They taking me. So I said, okay, fine, I'm not a breakfast guy because I train before work and I normally have something light. That was my program every day, they knew. I went into Morningside and we visited the nightclub, but it's open daytime. And when I got there, I didn't know at the time whose club it was, and they disclosed whose club it was. And this club turned out to be one of the tow truck guys' owners, which his name is all over this inquiry. Where I went with my statement was that I opted to pay for my meal once I had found it out. They did not know I had a history of where I worked in Sydenham for 18 years. And this particular individual resided in Sydenham when he first started off his business with tow trucking. Has now grown into one of the main guys, and that's Mr. Naicker. I'm not naming him, but I'm saying I'm identifying him. That's Roadstar's owner. There's no other director to the company. Now, I think if I should elaborate, the question was put because I had put something in a statement because I know we're pursuing or we're trying to get clarity as to how do we identify what's going on here, because there's implications of the tow trucks competing with tow trucks, the drug dealers competing with drug dealers, because this is where all this is going with this particular scene. But I was not in a position to put anything into a sworn statement as to what's actually going on, because I have not been in that relationship where I've arrested or no members that have apprehended the individual.
And to understand you well, Captain, what you are saying, and I will not hold you to that, is that in essence, there is a restaurant somewhere in the central where at least you were told on one account that the police eat for free, or
Yeah,
they have a free meal.
It's the same restaurant here.
Yes, and that same restaurant seems to be owned by the same Clive Naicker that we've been discussing at this commission.
That's correct.
And for that reason, you felt uncomfortable that your meal should be on the house.